Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Advanced Persistent Threat and Cybersecurity LinkedIn Live event. Today, we have the pleasure to speak with Marcus Carey. Marcus is the author of The Tribe of Hackers, a 4-book series. The books feature interviews with everybody from ethical hackers, security researchers, and industry leaders. Marcus is also the principal research scientist for ReliaQuest. Marcus, thank you so much for joining us today.
I really appreciate y'all for having me. Thanks.
Thank you, Marcus. Also helping me join today, we have Alex Mabro. Alex is the former CISO at PNB Paribas and security manager at Jetronics. Alex, thank you so much. And I think we have Jason might be joining us.
Hello,
I know he
everyone.
has back meetings, so I'll keep an eye out for him. But Alex, thank you so much for joining us.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
So everyone, this is a live event, right? So we try to keep this as open as possible. So please feel free to post your questions, and then I'll try to do my best to get them answered. So I'll kind of post them. You could actually see them, post them live, and we'll get them answered. Okay. So again, everyone, thank you so much. Marcus, what I would like to do is start off. I noticed your background is in cryptology, and you worked with the NSA. Kind of how did that experience shape your approach in cybersecurity?
Well, yeah. So I got the pleasure of working in the intelligence community because I was in the U.S. military, and I'm man, it's crazy because I'm gonna be 50 next month, and so when I first got into that space, it was 1993, and it was a big of course DoD and the military had all the computer stuff that anybody would dream of, but in 1993 Windows for Work groups was just deploying, and just were doing all kind of different stuff, and I was laying fiber, and so I was really lucky at 18 years old. I got to work in those kind of roles where tech was just bubbling, and I was able to do that. And from an 18-year-old kid not knowing anything, and we had Novell and all this different technology, and so it's like I accidentally fell into technology, and
Yeah.
because I was in the Navy doing in the IC, we were basically like tenant commands to NSA. So I got to do that's how I got to work at NSA, and the training, the everything. It was just the right place at the right time. And I tell people I believe I'm like Forrest Gump or Bubba Gump. I'm like a mixture of Forrest and Bubba. Where I just
I know,
keep
I
on
remember the
going.
movie.
I just keep on. I'm just the luckiest person on earth, man. 1993, technology was just booming, and got a chance to work with all kind of stuff. So the big thing was that the DoD, NSA, all those people, they actually write all the rules for cybersecurity, even back then. Like they were kind of innovating it. So it helped me get into that space. And since I'm almost 50 now, that'll be over 30 years doing all this stuff and cryptography and protecting data and protecting information, having secure facilities, all that stuff. So it was really a tremendous blessing to be that lucky. Like I said, that's why I call myself the Black Forest Gump.
And I got to tell you that there's a reason. My son is at Pensacola. He's a Navy CTM, so he just finished
Awesome.
A school and going to C school. So I had to
That's
tell him that.
exactly that's the path. Yeah, that's the path.
And that's why I had to tell him I was talking to you, and I was like, "Oh man, I gotta show him." So he's excited to watch this also. So thank you so
Awesome,
much for
awesome.
doing this.
So I went through Pensacola myself when I was 18 years old, and I learned how to do some. They taught me some signals intelligence subsystems, and things of that nature. And then when you go to your first duty station, and that's why I got to learn. I learned internet networking early. I was a CCNP. The government sent me to all this training, and
Yeah,
so yeah, your son's lucky. CTN, that's the hottest fill in all the military, in my opinion.
he loves it, man. He's excited. So Alex, did you want? I know you want to kind of we'll go back and forth with questions, but Alex, did you want to go next with questions? We'll kind of hand it all back and forth.
Yeah, I saw you wrote those series about the private hackers, and first of all, I would like to congratulate because I know for the first book that you wrote in 2019, there was, let's say, around 70 or more than 70 experts, cybersecurity experts, who helped you with details, and those people were, let's say, ethical hackers, researchers, professionals in the field, which, yeah, good work. No one could, let's say, could do a good job like what was presented in that book. And then it comes the second book, what again about the blue teaming, 2020, where I saw it was in fact a sequel, if I'm not wrong. Please correct me
Mhm.
here, of the original book, which again, they were a lot of people who helped you, like more than 40 people, if I'm not wrong. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable because over there have been written information about the insights on threat detection, incident response, defense strategies, and best practices for securing the networks and systems. Which, yeah, it's a really good thing, because I think at the moment we need these kind of books for people who wants to become cybersecurity experts in the field. And I know there are a lot of juniors, I can tell you, because me and Aaron, we are seeing every day people that they are asking where I can find a book, or where I can find a training,
Yeah.
or a journey path for this kind of field. It's not so easy. It's very hard, because it depends of that person what he wants to become. Maybe he wants to be a security analyst, or maybe he wants to be an expert into the CTI, cyber threat intelligence, or maybe he wants to become an expert on the governance. And over there, again, he has to read different books, different stories. And then maybe he wants to be a pen tester. And of course, over there, I know you have a great book called Red Team Edition from 2021, where again there was a lot of people who helped you with that, and it was in a contrast to the blue teaming, because as people knows very well, red teaming is offensive, the other one is defensive. So we know very well what's this. Plus, that book, it covers a wide range of topics, like penetration testing, red teaming, adversary simulation techniques, which is good. Another thing, as I says, very good. And then the last book that I saw it, Tribe of Hackers, Security Operation Edition, which is more related to SOC people. And there are a lot of SOC people, let's say, in the world. And again, I know that people help you with this. And over there, I saw you covered programs, managing incident response, and other things in regards with technologies to enhance the security operation. So yeah, good job. Congratulations for this. I really like it, and I appreciate for this. Plus, I want to tell to everyone that are watching us at the moment to take care into the consideration of those books, and to at least to read, and to understand if those books are their path on their work, and if this can be a help to learn, to understand how a tool is working, what means I don't know, a simulation or a pen testing, or anything else like this.
Yeah, so I really appreciate you going through the books and all that stuff. I'll go in a little bit on the why that I did it. I've been in, like I said, I've been in cybersecurity for over 30 years now, for sure. And I just really lucky that I meet really awesome people all the time. And like some of the people that are like people that have big names in the industry, kind of like, famous in the industry. I
Yeah.
just happen to be cool with them all the time. And if I go to a conference, I would see them. I would be talking to my friend, right? My friend is kind of a big deal or whatever, and I could
Mhm.
see people looking at my friend wanting to talk to my friend and not but terrified because some of them may have a big name or not. And also there would be cases where I knew people that weren't well known that had good information, right?
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do, I was inspired by a book by Tim Ferriss, which is a popular blogger and all that stuff. So he had a book called Tribe of Mentors, is what he called the book.
Okay.
So I was inspired by that book. That book was more so about business, and he had entertainers in it on how their work ethic was. I was like, man, that would be great because there's always people asking, and you just mentioned this. There's always people asking about how do I get into cybersecurity? What's the difference between a red teamer and a blue teamer? Blah blah blah. All these questions, right?
Yeah.
So I pretty much took all those questions and went to all my friends. Some were well known, some weren't so well known. And what's funny is that tons of people that were in Tribe of Hackers, they actually have books now. So if you go through and you get those Tribe of Hackers books, and some of them were not known at all when we first did the books, right?
I
But
see.
what's funny is that a lot of those people, they got exposure to like Wiley because Wiley put the books out, and Wiley actually published several books from some of the authors. So it's a good list of people to at least go to LinkedIn and try to find and communicate with those people, because I was lucky. I'm lucky enough to know many of them people really well, and yeah, it was such a great experience, and that's why we did it. We did it because of that. And one more thing, because I was kind of taking notes so I can make sure I can cover stuff that you're talking about. So you talked about like how do you get into cybersecurity and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what. So I would, in my advice, and this is like super important, my advice to anybody that's breaking into cybersecurity is two things, right? One, if you want to go technical, the easiest way to get in the cybersecurity to me is as like an analyst role or SOC analyst roles.
Hmm.
Those are the most roles that are available in cybersecurity. And I know a lot of people want to be a red teamer off the rip, off the jump. They want to be red teamers and they want to be hack, do all that stuff. But
Yeah.
those aren't a lot of jobs that just all you do is red teaming, right? So,
True.
and that's the kind of sexy job and all that stuff, and everybody wants to hack stuff and all that. But many times those jobs just aren't available, right? So if you become good at understanding like some basic security operations, then you can start doing cooler stuff. Like, okay, cool. This is how red teaming fits into that. This is how CTI, threat intelligence, fits into that.
Yeah.
And because of I believe still, and some people definitely have different opinions. They believe that you can just jump into whatever role you want to. But
Indeed.
I don't see a lot of, and definitely now, the job market as we speak today is February 11th, 2025. The
Yeah.
job market is tight for in cybersecurity right now.
True. I agree
So,
with you.
so anyway, that's a couple of thoughts on what you said. So I recommend if you're trying to break in, SOC analyst role. Also, no matter what you do, I tell people if they can come in with a lateral movement. So say if you're a project manager doing something in something other field, maybe there's a space for you to move into cybersecurity as a project manager in cybersecurity. Because if like some seasoned adults, they're making a good money, and if they would take a demotion from a pay perspective, and sometimes
Hmm.
we just can't do that. So if you can try to move into cybersecurity as from a lateral position, that could be marketing, that could be legal, that could be, there's a lot of jobs in cybersecurity that you can do. If you're a programmer, maybe you can do AppSec. There's
Yeah.
all these different things that you should consider as far as that goes. I hope that makes
And
sense.
yeah, yeah. Anyhow, what I know, your series, your books is a great tool for anyone who's looking to get a holistic view of cybersecurity rules. So, what can I say? Oh, from there you can take I don't know technical advice, for example, or you might take strategic insights. So it helps a lot. So yeah, good job and congratulations again for those
Thanks.
books.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Everything in life so anticlimactic. So yeah, I'm just super lucky. Like I said, I'm super lucky to know so many awesome people that would contribute their time to me.
And actually, that's a good question I had is, was there any surprising insights about some of the conversations you had?
Yeah, some of the conversations where I asked about some interesting questions. I like the one of the questions that wasn't even technology related, because I asked people, what do they think the meaning of life is? That was a question in the first book. And Doug Song founded Duo Security. Everybody uses Duo all over the place. Doug is a super cool dude. So Doug's answer was the meaning of life is to have a meaningful life. And he said it's something his father told him. And I was like, wow, that's deep.
It
And
is
so what
deep.
I like
It's like
about
a
the
motto, right?
yeah, so what I like about the books is that I ask personal questions, and like it humanizes some of the figures. Like we're all human. It doesn't matter what, right? And so, so how do you live a meaningful life? That's a whole different bag, right? But it like gets you to think introspectively. But I believe that everybody, and you can probably tell I'm a superhero fan. I don't know if you got that, if I'm getting that across through the camera here.
Oh yeah.
So,
It's awesome.
and I tell one of the things that's in the books too is I ask people what their superpower is, right? And so everybody has a superpower. Everybody can fit a role and be like in beast mode in that role without being super stressed out or whatever. I heard a lot of burnout. Sometimes you're not using your superpower. You're not in that role for you. And so that's kind of like what I encourage people to do is like I encourage them to find like whatever their purpose is, and also if they can understand what they're going to be really good at, or just try around, tinker a lot, and then you'll find that sweet spot where like, oh man, I actually get really good enjoyment out of doing this role, and I'm using my superpower. Sometimes we don't know what our superpower is, so sometimes you got to ask a friend. But your superpower, I'll tell you how to find it. It's something that people come to you and you find easily, right? So sometimes that could be reverse engineering. Sometimes it could be putting together a whole, like if you're able to do forensic investigations, maybe that's super easy for you, right? And I found that people get joy out of using their superpower, right? So
Yeah.
and so I want to encourage people to find that superpower, and that's kind of like the insights is that I had. Most people that are super successful are doing something that they love, and they're not necessarily doing it for anybody else. They're doing it because they like doing what they do. That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might have
Bring
a
the questions
question.
on. Let's go.
I might have a question.
I was waiting for Alex, but
Yeah.
I was saying my way, but I'll pass that. But Alex, I'll go with this one.
Yeah, I might have
Uh,
a question because I have
yeah.
read something into your book about pen testing and all those kind of things. What are the most valuable skills or certification that you recommend in regards to your book, for example?
Yeah, I know this is an international audience watching, but what I would say is like what certifications can get you into the door, right? And
Yeah.
so that's the purpose. That's the purpose to me. Like what's going to get you in the door? Definitely like if you're working anything related to the government or state, or it's going to be security plus still.
Yeah.
That's mine. If you're breaking into the game, I think you should do security plus. There's a lot of other certifications out there, and I'm not sponsored by CompTIA or anything like that. But
hmm
I think that shows that you have the minimal mastery of that. But
What
how
about
I
what
go
about
ahead.
the OSCP, for example?
I think that all those are good, but no matter which one you pursue, right?
Yeah.
No matter which one you pursue, this is my recommendation. Try to try to gain experience in whatever it may be. So if you're going
hmm
through Security Plus, go through the exercise and really try to do that. OSCP is really cool because it's hands-on. When I was
hmm
growing up in tech, there was this thing called a CCIE, right? In
Yeah. Yeah.
for Cisco, super hard to do. And the
Indeed, it is.
yeah, yeah. OSCP is kind of like the security version of that. So you definitely get props if you do that. But I would say that like most of the time, the thing about red teaming is like makes there's not as many jobs in that. So I see people like they don't do they want to be a pen tester and they just do OSCP, fail it like 4 or 5 times. And I'm like, bro, you could have already been gaining experience while working on that too.
It's
You know what
almost
I'm
feel like
saying?
they're pigeonholing themselves. They're getting so specialized, and if the
Yeah.
job's not there, you end up kind of having an issue with that.
And then what happens is like I see people all the time that got college degrees, 4-year degrees in something, and they hate what they're doing.
Yeah.
No, not saying that. Like a lot of pen testers hate their job. You know what I'm saying? What they do is they go.
Yeah, and if you're miserable, what are you doing at that point?
Yeah, they go year after year. They go to clients. They might visit the same client every year. And all the stuff that they saw last time, their pen test is easy because many times they just go in and just do the same thing they did last time.
Yeah. I know some others are they are preferring to do like certified ethical hacking, for example, or CISSP, for example, as well. Some others, or there are other, if I'm not wrong, from SANS, which are also very good. Those.
SANS stuff's super expensive.
Yeah,
but
indeed.
you can get somebody to pay for it. That's great. But CEH, I'll give you my opinion on all of them, right? So CEH, so like I said, in some jobs, some jobs require you to get certifications. If you're a government contractor, if you're in the government. So I say, do whatever makes sense for you, right?
Yeah,
but
I agree.
as I would go through each certification, if I'm talking about like Nmap or Metasploit or whatever you may be talking about, I would say go learn the technical skills. Go learn something. So it's just not a paper certification, because
I agree.
People don't want that. And CISSP, great. So here's the deal. Like so many of these things, there's an opportunity to either learn in your own lab or try to help somebody else. So say if you have a nonprofit in your community or something that you care about, whether it be a church or Boy Scouts or whatever, pick an organization, right? Go do a security assessment for them. Go scan their website. Go, with permission, of course, right? And then put together a report. And then even when you're interviewing, you can say, I volunteer and I use my cybersecurity skills to volunteer for this. So even if you have to do that, you will kind of start understanding how the job goes, even if you didn't have any experience. So that's kind of how I look at stuff. So get the certifications, but make sure you know how to execute what's on the on that certification in the real world. That's my recommendation.
Yeah,
hope that makes sense.
I understand.
Where internships is critical for these young
Oh
kids.
yeah. Indeed.
Build up some kind of experience, in the field.
Or you can join the Navy.
That's what my boy did.
That's what you call it, the deep end. You get thrown right
in. We visited right after boot camp, and boy, he was a different man. People were telling us that, he's going to be different, but man, I wasn't prepared for how much different he was.
Yeah, tell my little shipmate I said what's up.
I will. So I'm gonna actually post a question that came online. I'm gonna show it. See, it just came up here. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, sure. I see a question from Georgia Droshin.
And he says, Marcus, if you could go back in time and choose a different career, what would that be?
So, I mean, ever since I was young, I always wanted to be an inventor, and that's the thing I wanted to be. But what's funny about that is I've had a chance to kind of live that out, and even the older I get, the more stuff I'll try to dabble into. Like I have, tons of us. We're not just singular creatures in life. We can do cybersecurity well, but we also might have artistic interests and things of that nature. So I would say that I wouldn't pigeonhole yourself in like, I have to do this whole thing from the beginning. But I just like, and I think most people like being helpful and helping people out. I think everybody gets joy in helping people out. So I think your life is about figuring out, and career is about how do you use your superpowers? How can you be the most helpful, and how can you help people out? And that always makes us happy, right? Yeah. And so I tell people, I give people a barista thing. I tell people about your job, your life should be about making people happy, right? And giving people excellent service, right? So I would say it's a coffee shop close to my house, and I went in to test the coffee. I like coffee, and the coffee was terrible. And I'm like, how could you have a coffee shop and the coffee would be terrible. That's the first thing you have to do is get that right.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You're going to do one thing right. That's it.
That's it. So get the main thing you're doing right, and then we can branch from there. But what I'm saying is, like, in my life, I've done a lot of stuff, and I'm really super happy about. I'm really fortunate. But I would say that find what you, like I said, find your passion, and how can you use that to help other people out. And I think that that's the fastest way to appreciate your life, your career. But don't pigeonhole yourself just to be a cybersecurity person. Try to, if you like cars, mechanic, or if you like to work on cars, try to do everything. Try to live a full life, is what I would say. But if I were to go back in the time when I was, my youngest memories, I wanted to be like an inventor. I would sketch out stuff. I would want to be an architect. So that was always me. And luckily enough, I get to do that with software now. And that scratches that itch for me. I get to build tools, I get to build software, and everything I do, it helps people out. It helps people get more secure. It helps, so that's how I find a balance. What am I good at, and how do I help other people with what I'm good at? And that's how all my superhero homies back here, Iron Man, all these guys, even though they can be confused sometimes, but that's my methodology.
I love it, man. If you were going to add a new chapter today, what topics do you think you'd cover?
All right, so the thing that's hot right now, I want to talk about AI. I want to do a book.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to go to that.
So that's what I want to do next, and that's gonna happen. I'm gonna.
I have one question. If you want to cover AI, what you should cover in terms of AI will be AI penetration testing, AI vulnerability management, AI. I don't know other things on the red teaming stuff, or AI SOC, because we saw also AI can be integrated with SOC as well. Will be these kind of things.
100%, all that. I mean, anything that a human can do that requires you reading and processing text data and inputs and APIs and all that stuff, 100% AI is here, and it's going to help us out big time. I'm so excited about it. I use AI in every aspect of my life.
I'm not so dependent of him. I'm telling you why. I like AI. I like how it helps us, but I don't like to rely on him. Sometimes, if we are relying more and more and more, might our brain to not work as it should be, like less thinking. This is what I'm saying. People are, I see more often. If you see, there is a report online about that. Are using more and more. I don't know how good it is. Because some things you can use your brain, and it's helps you to develop some stuff of your brain in terms of thinking, reading, and all the stuff, developing yourself, and so on. But AI, indeed, can help you to easily process some things. For example, I don't know, you are working with a lot of data, and you want that data to manipulate, to make a quicker process, to provide you a report or any other kind of those things. So for sure, AI is the best. But if you think that you ask AI, for example, can you give me a recipe for I don't know, a soup? That's not a good thing. I think you should think a bit. If that soup, it should be like this, and not use some, I don't know, onion, for example, or too much onion, because AI recommended the onion thing. And so
here's my take on it, Alex.
Please.
This is my take. This is the Marcus Carey take.
Please.
All right, we're gonna stop. We got it. All right.
All right. So I agree with everything you said. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I found in life, the more you know about something, the better outcomes you're gonna get.
True.
And even the more you learn. So you ever didn't know nothing about something, and you Googled it for the first time, and the first time you found the article, you went to that article, you read something, you knew more about that subject. So what did you do? You went and you had, oh snap, I didn't know that term was that term. So what do? You go back into Google, you search with a better term. The more you know, you get better results, right?
I agree. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that's how Google has always been for me. And also that's how
I think
AI is
for
for
all
me.
of us, yeah, for all of us.
This is how AI is for me. Since I already have really good technical acumen, I'm going to be able to talk to AI at a higher level. It's like when communications, you know how modems work back in the day when the modems had to sync at a certain level?
Yeah.
If you're using AI at a basic rudimentary level down here, you're going to get basic elementary stuff, and it's not
I saw that.
if I'm talking AI up here, I'm
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
to it on
He
some
will give you
advanced
answers at advanced. Yeah, I know. I saw
100%.
that.
So that's why I tell people, don't keep on learning, keep learning. That's going to be that's what AI is going to kick in for some people. The more you learn, the more you're going to get out of it. You're going to be able to answer advanced questions. You're going to be able to do prompting. I'm doing a lot of what I call briefings, where I give the AI a brief on what I want it to do, which is way more. It's still prompt engineering, but it's just a different structure.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would say that's why I'm excited about it. It's because the higher level you get as far as knowing what you want out of it, the results are crazy. I mean, for anything. So, and I built the AI SOC analyst. We built an agentic AI. I'm giving myself thumbs up. Just patting myself on the back too much. Sorry about that, guys.
No
I
worries.
didn't even know we had that feature.
Yeah, it's on Apple, right? So
Yeah,
it's my
I
Mac.
know.
But I would say that the more you know, the more you're going to be able to leverage the tool. Don't be like AI is going to do it all for me. No, you be amazing at what you do, and then AI is going to level you up. And I learned from AI. I learned like, oh snap, that's again same thing as Google. I learned a new term. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to ask you, help me do that, right? So that's what the approach should be. And there's a really good book called The Fourth Age that I think everybody should take a look at. It's called The Fourth Age.
That's
And
actually
what
a
that
good
book
question.
talks
I
about
think
is it talks
someone asked
about
a question here, and that would, I think, delve right into it. Jack asked, learn about underneath the hood of AI.
yeah. So there's a really good website, and I recommend this to everybody. If you want to learn how AI works, there's this website called Kaggle. It's Kaggle, and that website allows you to do to learn how machine learning works, right?
Okay, nice.
And so it gives you the data sets, and it helps you learn how to train models at a very low level. Stuff like predicting, like a couple of ones are two good examples are you there's this, it'll walk you through on predicting. You write a model, you create a model, and that model predicts what days of the year, or depending on the temperature, it'll tell you what the ice cream sales are going to be, right? So you take all this data from ice cream stand and you build a model. Then you input a number, and the model tells you, all right, 98 degrees, you're going to have a good day, right? Also, another thing that was interesting is one of the every training I see, they have the Titanic data. You know, Titanic, the ship that went down.
Yeah.
They have a whole manifest of all the people that worked in the Titanic. I mean, all the people that were on the Titanic, right? And what quarters they slept in, whether they were first or second class, woman, child, all that. So they have a complete manifest of that. So you can train a model to predict based on what class or what sex they were, what are the likelihood of them surviving the sinking vessel. So
Nice.
you can train these models. It's in Python, so know a little bit of Python. But what that does for you is that what these models doing, they're just prediction machines. And your brain is a prediction machine, by the way, right? So that's all you, and so you're giving it data, training data. And so how it works is 80% of the data is used to train, 20% of the data is used to test in most cases.
Okay.
So you'll run it through, and plus, like you tag the data, all this different things. This is all the things that OpenAI and all these people are doing, but they're doing it at a way higher and much intensive compute level, right?
Yeah.
So that's the best way to play around and understand that, okay, cool, this is how AI works, right? And then you can extrapolate that and understand way more stuff about it. But from our cybersecurity and threat intel and all these different things, being able to allow a model to quickly process all the data, so you're not asking it to do it from nowhere. What you're doing is you're taking your expertise and you're telling it, this is how I do it, AI. And you can even come up with better ways to do it. But the AI is pretty much going to execute kind of like how you tell it to, and it just does it faster in many cases. And it may even give you suggestions on how to solve that problem. And so what I've seen is we've taken AI in my day job, and what we do is um, we take threat feeds in. We give it an IP address. It'll go look up all the IP stuff. It'll look up all the domain stuff just real quick. It'll connect to something like a virus total. It'll connect to like a whois. It'll grab all that information. And so what we've seen is like something that would take a regular operator like 20 minutes to do, go and look at all the stuff, look at here, look at here, look at there. An AI can do it in less than 2 minutes. All the stuff. So we're seeing a 20x and like then write the report, then do all that. So it's a 20x on what an analyst could do. But I mentioned that book earlier, and this is super important. AI is just going to make our jobs. It's just going to make us quicker at our jobs. You still have to have a human to look at it and see if it's right. Just like if you any other human, if you have a SOC analyst and you're the SOC lead, you're going to make sure that your people's stuff's right. So and also I talk about hallucinations a lot, and people talk about hallucinations all the time. Oh, it made this up, it made that up. Man, people make stuff up all the time, bro.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like how in the world did you get that? I don't know. It's a hallucination. It's been happening, bro.
Yeah, but do you think AI will replace us if we will work more with him?
No, I think it's going to get us better jobs. In that book, The Fourth Age, I mentioned it. Throughout
Yeah,
history, technology has made better jobs. Like
indeed, I agree
that's it.
on that.
Like you can go back. There used to be somebody to hold a dang like lamp. There used to be humans that used to hold torches and stuff at the dang corners or something. You know what I'm saying? Now we got red lights and the street lights, all that stuff. Nobody wanted that crappy job, right? So technology has made better jobs, and I think that technology is going to make cybersecurity professional way better. Why do I have to look at all these APIs when they can just grab all the information and then let the analyst make the decision?
Yeah.
So you're going to
Right.
have a human in the loop. We're going to be able to protect more people. We're going to be able to look at more incidents. That's how it's going to help us. You're going to have your cooler job. And then what you can do is you can start learning reverse engineering. You can start doing prompt engineering. So there's this whole new field of prompt engineering that didn't exist before.
Yeah.
Like 2 years ago, what the hell is prompt engineering? But now people are making money by telling the AI what to do in novel ways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is what happens throughout the time of technology. Technology always helps us out. And technology is a dual-edged sword. I heard people, oh, well, they're going to use it for better phishing emails to translate it. Now, blah, blah, blah. So what?
Yeah.
I can use it to detect phishing now. I can use it to look at the domains. I can look at the check at the DCAM. I can do everything that we do manually. I can tell AI to do that for me now by briefing it properly or prompting it properly. And that's how I look at all this stuff. No, it's not going to take our jobs. It's just going to make my job less mundane, and I'm going to be able to do more. That's it.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
You know, I always look at as for everyone I talk to, the streamline and what it does for people to make their lives easier, to be honest. You know, and you know, we always have the creativity that's going to make us unique, right? But be
Yep.
able to streamline those processes that everyone's going through to make their life a little bit easier. I know people, this is a huge conversation on almost every single time. Alex could probably say it.
Yeah.
But every time we do one of these, no matter who we talk to or CISOs, whatever, this AI conversation always comes up. And everyone has their different viewpoint. But I love your views that you don't look at it as this threat, you know, of, oh, this is going to be it. And cybersecurity is going to be over. And we're going to be overrun by these attacks we're not going to be able to track. I love that you're looking at as not just a defensive way, but but a way, not just offensive way to attack, but a defensive way on what we can do to streamline those processes and really make a change and make our lives easier and be able to attack these threats a lot better.
Yeah. So if you're a threat intel person or whatever you do, you bring your subject matter expertise to the table, and it's just going to make you more of a badass, right? That's it. And like, if I were people doing many of these jobs, I would come up with a way to, and you don't even have to train it. Like I said, you just have to prompt it or brief it properly. Now, what I'm saying, an example of when I say brief it, you tell it all the parameters properly. You're saying that here's the goal, here's the output, here's what you're trying to do, here's the inputs. I'm talking about like write a document like you would like down there in Pensacola. What your son's getting right now is they're telling him how to do his job. Well, all that stuff that they're telling him, put that into LLM and let it cook.
Yeah,
let it cook, and then let him process the information on the back end. Because I do believe that there's a place for humans in the loop. I think AGI, what they talk about, autonomous, all this stuff about gray goo and the world's ending, all that stuff. I don't believe any of that stuff, man. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I think that's a little far fetched too, Alex. Do you think that, or I know
the autonomous thing? I think it's the next level from my point of view, but. Let's see the present, not the future. I think at the moment.
Yeah, it's the Terminator story, right?
Yeah, exactly. He, I mean, also Marcus is right on what he's saying. But for me, it's science fiction at the moment. This is what I'm going with my mind. Maybe I'm paranoid or crazy, but I don't think so. That's the reality. Let's say like that. But we're not there. I think we are not there. You might have heard. Please, Aaron.
Go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry.
You might have heard about Skynet, for example. Skynet, it's not only in the movie. If you check on the internet, you might see a lot of details about it. I don't know if there is science fiction, but it's somehow.
I don't know. I don't know if we want to be talking about Skynet right now yet.
And soon will look like that. I mean, as I said, at the moment for me, it's science fiction. It's nothing more. But let's see in the future. Let's see, I don't know, 20 years, 15 years, 50 years, and so on. I don't know if we'll get there. I suppose we'll get it, of course, but the technology will be different. Maybe we say something here and now into the present, but in 20 years, will not show like this. Will be more evolved. Will not be. Maybe will be autonomous. Maybe, but not as others are saying. So I don't know. I'm still living in the present. Sorry, please go on.
Yes, I got a good friend that this guy's like kind of a legend in cybersecurity named Marcus Raynham, right? He used to have this talk he used to give called "Cyber War is BS," and this is what he used to say, right? And so the name of that book is called the Fourth Age. Somebody's asking in the comments, but Marcus Raynham used to always say that cyber war is BS. He had a talk called. He used to buy me a Penn and Teller when he was doing it, like that kind of delivery. And he said, packets don't have bullets, is what he used to say. So there's going to have to be a physical domination of somebody on Earth, humans. Because all these AIs, I mean, you can actually build. You can build a system that has bullets on it, right? And the AI is controlling it, and that's going to happen too. But at the end of the day, humans actually are going to call the shots on these systems, because that at the end of the day, we can unplug the dang system, right? So I can't. That's my belief is that But the revolution, the wave that's going to come here, and it's going to accelerate. Even like I heard Zuckerberg recently saying that they're going to get rid of a lot of their engineering stuff because the AI is going to create more, going to be writing most of the code, right?
It's funny
because
they
don't need as many people.
They just let go of, I think, 5% of his staff.
Yeah.
Just
And another piece of that. Yeah. So another piece of that is, I think what I do see happen really, really soon, Alex, is that I see AI as like these LLMs. The thing with AGI is it has to be able to learn more itself. So I believe that we're near it's going to be able to take new inputs and train. But it costs like millions of dollars to train one GPT. Like it costs a lot of money from a
Yeah,
compute perspective,
true.
right? And they can't do it when that price drops, and that's going to be, like you said, like 10, 20 years, where it's going to just be easy to roll these things out. Maybe we're talking, but to be able to do it fast, like boom, there's new information that just happened. Now we have to train it. That's not going to happen. But there's things like retrieval augmented generation and different ways that it can just ingest data.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's not going to be like, again, I look at the human mind and how we work as humans, right?
True.
They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So there might be a time in the future where it just gets redundant and it's not gaining anymore. And it's still going to depend on humans to out innovate people. And that's kind of how, like, where I feel. I love technology. I tell people the story. I'm like, I'm just a dumb country boy. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I understand. I'm
just out here like enjoying technology, and technology has definitely been able to change my life. And so I embrace it fully. And all these things we're talking about can be used for good or bad. Like, you can code to defend something, you can code to make an exploit, right? You can patch an exploit with code.
Yeah.
So I don't look at technology as a good or bad thing. The only good or bad things is like sometimes humans make decisions that hurt other people. That's what happens.
Yeah. I have a question. Do you think will be some threats over there if we will use AI too much?
Like in what regard? Ask that one more time. Sorry.
For example, let's say I don't know, you are using too much AI, and then the AI might have a lot of information from you, and then I don't know, there are some borders for the AI to get out. Do you think will be a threat in the future?
Yeah. So I think all the security things that exist right now, all the security issues exist.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, OWASP has this AI LLM thing now, top 10 that they
Yeah, I saw
recommend.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all the things that we've been doing for the last 20 years that people don't really do, like, separation of duties, creating the right infrastructure, all those different things, that still is a problem. We haven't fixed that yet. So we're going to have data problems. We're going to have leak problems. We're going to have all the same problems. AI is just somebody that can just do stuff faster. I mean, the whole LLM, it just does stuff faster. Now, that's kind of how I look at it. Also, from a vulnerability discovery perspective, attackers can, they can go to GitHub, they can download, a repo of something you're using, and they can ask it to find a 0-day. But at the same time, if you're a blue teamer, you can go do the same exact thing and patch it.
Yeah. Or if you're a CTI guy, you can prevent it.
So that's what I'm saying. My thing is, a lot of times I hate it when blue teamers or people that are on the defensive side, we too dang soft, man. Sometimes we soft, man. we try to be the last people to use it.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, why y'all the bad guys using it? I'm trying to use it too. It's very simple to me.
But I think everyone has to be careful. I mean, that's my opinion over there. Because you might get in jail, you might get in prison, you might I don't know, pay for the defamation or brand image or anything else. So you have to be careful. Anything what you are doing over there.
Be careful, but you got to be quick though. You got to be you got to be quick, man.
I don't know. I mean, even if you are a pen tester, you have to be careful. I have seen these things maybe in banks, because I have worked with banks, mostly with banking sector. And I know very well how it works over there, where, I don't know, transactions are working in milliseconds. And if someone is doing something, you might lose, I don't know. Let's say if you have a pen tester, he is doing a pen testing, and he by mistake, he chose the production server. I have seen even that part. And then it might end up by freaking out everything in terms of transactions.
That's funny. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we hallucinate as humans.
I agree with you what you are saying.
I'll tell you a story. This is an NSA story, right? So when I was at the National Security Agency, I was on this team, what they call it the IB, where and we local. Am I still here? Okay.
Yeah,
So-
yeah,
So,
no, it's all good. Yeah.
So so what happened is, like, we were doing this massive migration from these things called four systems at these things called power hubs, which was like it was like a switch. It was old. It was like an old switch by this company called Four Systems, right? So we were replacing all the Four System stuff with Cisco stuff, right? And so NSA has a massive network, so we had hundreds of switches that we had to replace. So I wrote a script in Perl back in the day to take the Marconi thing, the Marconi, and well, Four Systems got bought by Marconi. We took those configurations, and what I did, I took the raw text and I actually just wrote a Perl script to convert it to Cisco. Now, after a couple of iterations, this worked perfect. It could create all the VLANs, all the descriptions of the ports, the whole nine.
It's wrapping
the Cisco configurations up, add a folder of all the new configurations. So the only thing you have to do is like copy and paste or FTP it to the server, to the system. Easy. So I could do this in seconds. Configure a new router. I had people work with me that said, "No, I don't trust your script. I want to do it by hand." That's what
I understand.
That's what we're saying here. So I'm saying that if you, yes, the first time it may make a mistake, but if we play around with it and learn with it and learn exactly how to set guardrails, proper briefing, proper what they call a few shot examples, like you give it a couple examples of how it should look like, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be way better off than a human trying to do it. 100%. I mean, I'm sorry. I trust the machine more than I trust humans. I'm sorry.
Trust but verify.
100%.
That's zero trust, in fact.
I trust these dang systems more than I trust humans.
You better to be careful sometimes. I don't know. I'm just saying.
I can see Alex is a little more nervous about it than not.
I'm on the gas. Alex, this is me. I'm on the gas.
I mean, I like you how
Alex is like, well,
I like you how you are working. I don't have any problem with that. As I says, I don't have any problem with AI. I'm using also sometimes AI, not all the time. I'm not dependent of him. I prefer to use my brain to understand better. I have logical things. I have standards. I'm giving you a summary about me. I'm a GRC person. When you are a GRC person,
put everything you know into.
Aren't we talking to someone about Copilot in the 2 weeks?
It looks like.
There you go.
I believe you, Alex. I believe everything you're saying. I think you're the most world-class GRC person on earth.
Yeah.
I would automate my life if I were you.
As I said, I'm somehow, let's say, trying to understand a few things through the AI, but not all of them, because sometimes the AI, I mean, I'm telling him about, it's just an example, about some standards from ISO 27001 and ISO 27005, for example, organization risk organization. And it was very funny because I was asking him something about the control. He was giving me nonsense information of that control, and I was telling him, no, based to the ISO 27005, it's a different control. And then he says, yeah, you are right, but this you have to understand, it's based on the what was the name? It's based on the profile of the company.
Yeah.
He's somehow right, because you can't apply 27,000 on everything. You can apply for sure, yeah. So part of the organization risk, not a problem. But you have to think better how much risk you have over there. Because if you have a small company, I don't know how much risk is there. But for a bigger company, for sure, there's tons of or tens of risk there. So it depends how you apply, what you do, and so on.
Yeah, 100%. I got a little sports analogy because I coach my grandson basketball on Saturday mornings or Saturday afternoons. My grandson is very good at basketball, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of advanced, but I tell him, I have to tell him, I was like, he tries to pass the ball to teammates. Sometimes they're not ready to get the ball, and sometimes they can't catch the kind of pass you're throwing. This is the same thing with AI. You have to know what tasks to give to it and what not to give to it. You got to know when to give the rock up and when you need to do it yourself. And that's kind of like my philosophy. I just made that up on the fly, and I'm going to use that again. I love that. I can see that in a presentation somewhere. Yeah, you got to know what you're giving off and what kind of job it's going to do once you pass it off to it. And then that's how you work with it. It's not going to replace us. 100% not going to replace us. But I think what it does is, like I said, at ReliaQuest, we say it's 20x. It's going to make the average person 20 times better. Yeah. And I believe that. I totally believe that. So I'm all in, man. You know what's funny? I was the biggest AI skeptic that you ever want to see 3 years ago. I used to really talk about AI really bad.
The book, the Fourth Age, did it help change your mind about your thoughts on it?
Well, no. So when I started using GPT-3 and I started building web apps with it, I was convinced. I was convinced. I was like, wow, this is crazy, because and ever since then, about 3 years ago, I started building web applications with it. So and before that, when I had my own company called Threatcare, I actually did NLP to help do. I built, for as far as I know, you could talk to it and it would do a penetration test task. I said, hey, I built this thing called Violet.ai back in the day. Somebody else has the domain now, but I built it and you could talk to it. So this is something I've been playing around with 10 years. I was like, oh, but it was just very simple. It understood voice and it executed based on that. But now we're in the big leagues now. I tell people, when I'm almost 49. When I was in third grade, War Games came out, right?
Yeah.
My opinion, the best hacker movie ever.
Right.
So, but when I saw that movie, I wanted to work with computers, and it was talking to Whopper, it was talking to the AI. I was like, man, that would be crazy to do that. We're living that right now. I've been waiting for this since the third grade, man. And I just can't contain my excitement about it.
I love how you're so excited about it. It's great. I'm telling you, man, it's so refreshing to see how someone is so excited about kind of seeing it come out, and not as much as typically we're all doom and gloom. A lot of times when we do this, it's doom and gloom, and it's always so concerned and so worried about it. But it's great to see, someone talk about, how it's going to change and make our lives better. Because that's what you said from the beginning, to make our lives better, right?
100%.
How can we connect that, right? So, and I love that idea, is if AI can turn around in the end at the core can make our lives better, then that's fantastic. I love it.
100%. One more story. This is a quick story. I know we're coming really tight here to the end. So so this is not a super sad story let me say that, because my father got diagnosed with cancer last May. He's okay now, but because he got through all the treatment. But during that whole treatment, he stayed with me and my wife here in my house right here for about 6 months. And I had all the information. I was feeding all his information to Chat GPT, and it was giving me, any kind of report, any kind of blood work, any kind of lab work. I was just feeding all of it in the chat, and it was giving me detailed analysis of everything. And it was so good that when I went to the doctor, I knew everything that was going to come out the doctor's mouth.
Yeah.
And I would take notes when I was in the doctor's thing, put that in the chat. What are you talking about? Because I don't, how these medical terms are.
Yeah, I know.
The whole time we're doing that whole process, it led through. So it's just not cybersecurity. It's a ton of fields that this is going to be helpful and useful for.
Yeah,
and I think we need to embrace it. Like, there's going to be bad people. There's going to be some crazy outcomes that we don't like, but it's definitely a net plus 100% in my mind. But that's it, guys. I really appreciate you for letting me rabble. Once you get me warmed up, I can't shut up though. So
Marcus, thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you so much for joining us. This was awesome. Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Tell my shipmate I said what's up. Okay.
I'll promise I will. Thank you, Ken. All right.